The club from Harold Ballard this past offseason, and Tony Truelove has the game's opening kickoff in his Tiger Cat debut, and he's out to the 36-yard line, a 65-yard kickoff by Dave Ridgway. Truelove brought it back 26 yards. We expect to see him play some tonight, but Derek McAdoo will start with Mike Kerrigan and Jed Tommy in the Hamilton backfield.
And I expect to see Kerrigan move his pocket around a bit. He's become too predictable, according to Al Bruno, and that they're not giving the defenses enough looks. In other words, too much three-step and throwing. They might start to semi-roll a bit tonight.
That quick pass, the timing is his game, but you're right, Neil, as Bruno said, they have to move him around a little more because teams have caught on, and very quickly we have a delay of game penalty. At least I'm guessing that's what it is. A time count violation, and we've seen quite a few of these called in recent games in the CFL. As the officials attempt to move the game along.
I think the problem not so much as the time count violation, it's the 20-second clock isn't working in one end. It shows 0 and then 60 seconds. And I know the offensive teams would like that much time, but they won't get it.
So it's not a penalty, simply getting things working at Ivor Wynne. Mike Kerrigan and the offense will come out a second time to run their first offensive play of this game. Champion wide right. Wally Zatilny replacing injured Earl Winfield. Splits to the left. Kerrigan looks left and looks for McAdoo, but overthrows him about 5 yards downfield. Nice night in Hamilton, 18 degrees Celsius. Actually, you can feel the coolness in the air a little bit today. Northeast at 15, the wind. It favors Saskatchewan in the opening quarter. And it looks pretty brisk, at least up high. We expect it will affect the kicking.
And both punters in the pregame warm-up were having a hard time with the wind. They're leaving the ball in the air too long.
Kerrigan on 2nd and 10, puts it up long, and Champion gets tangled up with Harry Skipper. The fans want a penalty, don't get it, and the Ticats will have to punt.
Champion trying to hit that seam up the outside before Suter could get over from safety. Watch Skipper, pushes him back inside, is going to run on his outside shoulder. Little hand action, just tripped on his feet.
Paul Baldiston has seen his punting average drop from 45.6 to 42 in the last couple of weeks. And he'll do well to get a 40-yarder off here into the wind. The ball at the Ticat 35.5. Skipper with the rush from the outside, and as Baldiston gets a low kick away, good Hamilton bounce to Albert Brown. And Brown with a good return. Flagel finally throwing him down at the Saskatchewan 50-yard line. A 37-yard kick by Baldiston. And Brown brought it back 13 yards as Tom Burgess brings out the Saskatchewan offense for the first time. Neil, the interesting thing about Burgess, he's completed 47% of his passes, and yet, as John Gregory told us, the other numbers are the ones that are more important in this case.
And I don't think you look at the percentage until your team starts to lose, and you look for an area that you're not as proficient at. He's hit big plays, and he's played well, though, so far this year.
A lot of big plays by this Saskatchewan offense. Burgess spreading out, throws to the sideline. Narcisse, the intended receiver, but the pass was high. And we haven't seen Burgess do a lot of sprinting out this season. He's been mostly in the pocket, and with him in the backfield, Milson Jones and Tim McRae both having excellent years. Narcisse and McDonald, the wide receivers. McDonald doesn't see much of the football. Elgart and Fairholm inside. And the offensive line. Now, that's the same 12-man unit that started the season for Saskatchewan. They've been there every game. And they face a 2nd and 10 at the Rider 50. Burgess looking for Fairholm down the left sideline, has him, and he steps out of bounds at the Ticat 17-yard line. What a beautiful throw by Tom Burgess.
Nicely thrown to the outside shoulders that Fairholm could adjust. They're taking their action, the movement of the backs going to the short side of the field. That's where they sprint. You see McRae sneak up. Fairholm goes to the flat and then back up the sidelines. He has a good step and a half past the defender, but the ball was thrown in a perfect spot.
And that defender is newcomer Will Lewis. 42-yard gain for the Riders to the Hamilton 17. Burgess with pressure gets the ball into the end zone, and Narcisse makes a diving catch for a touchdown. And Burgess was really nailed as he threw the ball.
Well, that's one of the reasons he didn't get as much zip on the ball, I think, as he wanted to, because he's backing up and trying to get away from the pressure. But what he does is he throws the ball to an area where Narcisse can run under it. See, he doesn't get everything he wants to in this ball. He literally is throwing it to that open area where there's no one else in respect to a defender, but a place that Narcisse can come back, even though he's covered well, get inside.
And the Riders are out quickly. We're just 2.5 minutes into the opening quarter at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Since game 2, we had the first 4 in the first 2 games. A 17-yard pass from Tom Burgess to cap a 3-play, 59-yard drive. Neil Albruno, the coach of the Ticats, legitimately concerned when we talked to him before this game, and quickly we see why.
Well, in 3 plays, 1 incompletion, 2 good passes, they can move the ball a length of the field and score. That's some explosiveness.
Bruno worried about some injuries he has, and also the fact that the Riders are a very good team that's playing well. Zatilny returning Ridgway's kickoff to the Ticat 37-yard line. That scoring play at 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the first quarter.
You touched earlier on that Saskatchewan has had few or no changes really in their offensive defensive set. That's so key, especially offensively. A guy like Mike Kerrigan wants to be able to throw the ball to the same people in practice and in games, because that's where that relationship is built, and it makes a difference in your performance.
Zatilny comes out wide right, and Champion splits left for Mike Kerrigan and the Ticat offense. Tommy and McAdoo, the running backs. And McAdoo with the toss to the left side. Some pretty good blocking forms. McAdoo across the 40 and struggles ahead to the 44-yard line. McAdoo has really tapered off in terms of his rushing pace after a quick start, but he looked good on that run. McAdoo in the backfield with Tommy and quarterback Mike Kerrigan. The receiving core with veteran Rocky DiPietro and Estelle at the slots, and Zatilny replacing Winfield and Champion wide receivers. And the offensive line, Darryl Harley starting in place of injured Brian Hutchings, who is starting in place of injured Ralph Schultz. So the depth in the offensive line being tested. 2nd down and 3, Ticats at their 44. Kerrigan to McAdoo, grabbed in the backfield for a loss.
McAdoo, the ball carrier.
Bobby Jurison got through to throw McAdoo for a big loss on 2nd and short.
Well, McAdoo gets the ball and he sees the hole, but because Jurison gets penetration quickly coming up the field, he makes McAdoo change his mind. Dirk Scott has him to the outside, but there's no place to go inside, and Jurison makes the right play.
He's still only 24 years old. Jurison in his 4th year. What a player he is and will be for many years to come. As Baldiston kicks on 3rd down into the wind, short kick, good bounce. Albert Brown lets it go by him way back to the Saskatchewan 25. Now he'll try to work it back upfield and is to the 32-yard line. Saskatchewan coach John Gregory obviously displeased, I would think, with Albert Brown and also with something that went on the field. Pretty impressive, Neil.
He's really, when you look back and to see the production, average 2 touchdowns a game in regular season. That's a pretty tough pace to keep up, though.
Yes, it is that. Well, he's got 1 already tonight, and he throws complete to Narcisse up at the 43-yard line. Very close to a Saskatchewan 1st down.
Lewis on the tackle.
Ticats have moved Tim Lorenz to and Rod Skillman not playing tonight. Ronnie Glanton takes his place on the defensive line. Darrell Patterson, Giftopoulos, and Frank Robinson. Darrell Corbin is in the lineup at linebacker, not starting though in the secondary with Will Lewis playing on the corner, his first game with Hamilton after being picked up from Winnipeg. 1st and 10, Roughriders. Burgess under big heat just gets it away for Ray McDonald, but over his head and out of bounds. Actually, the Ticats have had some trouble on that one corner. Harold Hicks played there last week after Jim Rockford got hurt, and then Hicks got hurt, so they had to call in Will Lewis.
Burgess twice now going after that corner, testing it. If he's going to have some luck, might as well find out early, but they've never been shy of throwing the ball deep.
2nd and 10, the Riders from their 43-yard line. 7-0 Saskatchewan, and a big rush on Burgess, but he dumps it off to McCray. He can't hold on, and it goes as an incomplete pass. There again, maybe we see the maturity that John Gregory talked about, Neil, with Burgess. Big pressure, but able to get the football off. Kerry Baker, like his Baldiston, has seen his punting average fall in recent weeks. He's number 4 in the league now. He was up around 45 a few weeks ago. John Gregory saying the conditions he's kicked in have been the reason, not his performance. With the wind, a low line drive punt. Zatilny finds an opening. He returned one for a touchdown in Regina. He won't go that far this time, but a good one nonetheless to the Rider 45. 9:26 left in the first quarter. Foster's Lager and the Canadian Football Network bringing you the best of the CFL. And the wind, which was said to be 15 kilometers an hour when the game started, appearing to be a bit brisker now. The Ticats working into it. 1st and 10 from the Rider 45. Kerrigan for DiPietro, no good.
Well, good punt return gives you a good offensive field position, but how Zatilny comes up straight, then comes left, sets up the block by the cornerback, Will Lewis. He comes over and just hits that seam quickly. If you can get past the first man, oftentimes you can find yourself a seam. And Scott Flagel, we talked about being important. He's in there just beating away on Bill Henry. Stopping him going downfield, though.
I know Jordan Lawrence love it.
Yeah, you miss some interesting stuff when you watch the football. Flagel and Henry going at it. Kerrigan on 2nd and 10 looks for Champion, and he nearly gets back to the football. He had his eye on it all the way. Skipper didn't, but Harry Skipper was there to break up the play.
Well, the first play, we see Kerrigan roll out, a flat rollout, and throw the ball. This time in the drop back, he throws the ball a little bit underthrown. Champion tries to make the adjustment, but Skipper stops him from going inside by putting his hands out, which might have been called interference.
You think so? Yeah, it's just a good job by Skipper.
Oh, good coverage, but you can't stop a man from going to the football.
3rd down and 10. Ticats from the Saskatchewan 45. It looked like the Riders jumped. There are flags down. Harry Skipper was the rider on the left side. Steve Crane has the football and is down at the 22-yard line of Saskatchewan. The Ticats will want to do that over, I would guess, if the penalty is against Saskatchewan.
No yards.
Take the penalty down.
Now they're talking about no yards being called against Hamilton, so we'll let them sort it out. 8:33 left, first quarter. Saskatchewan leading 7-0. The Riders can move back into a tie for first in the West with Edmonton if they can win tonight. Eskimos at 5-1.
Offside, Saskatchewan. No yards. 67 Hamilton. 3rd down repeated.
Skipper just simply jumps off, tries to plant and get back. It's more like sliding into second base. And downfield, the ball took a crazy bounce. Hey, when you kick into a wind, the only chance you have of getting a good punt is obviously good contact on the ball, but having the ball come off the foot in a spiral.
Well, the officials seem uncertain now. They've given Hamilton the 5-yard offside penalty, but haven't taken into consideration the no yards penalty, which they're doing now, and moving the football back.
I think they should just line them up where they started before and kick it over.
So they've got that resolved after having to go over it a couple of times, and as Baldiston will kick again. And he gets a much better kick away into the wind. Albert Brown back to his goal line to catch it. And a nice move. A flag is down as Brown returns it to the 14-yard line of Saskatchewan. A 45-yard kick by Baldiston. And Brown brought it back 14 yards. Ticats gained on that exchange from the first punt.
Illegal block, Saskatchewan. 1st down.
And they gain even more with the penalty against the Riders.
That penalty takes them back to where the punt really did have them in a nice corner. At the 2-yard line, 2.5-yard line, Tom Burgess is going to have a tough place to start, but it's a great opportunity for an offensive team to put together a drive and really get in the swing of things.
Tom Burgess and the Roughriders will start from their own 2.
And with the goalpost and the ball position the way it is, I don't think he'll be dropping straight back.
Be surprised to see that. Hand off right side. Tim McCray carries up near the 5 as the crowd gets into it at Ivor Wynne. Daryl Corbin is in the game. His first game back from a preseason knee injury.
Well, Corbin, who had just an outstanding year last year, broke his arm latter part of the season, was ready to go in the offseason, had a real good offseason, and then another knee injury. Only arthroscopic surgery, but enough to keep him out until now.
Second down and 8. Riders at their 5. The toss goes to McCray. Right side, finds a hole to the 10 and out to the 15. Looks like he has enough for a first down.
McCray doing a nice job of setting up his offensive lineman's block. Illebroom, number 61, the guard. See him pull out there? McCray goes laterally. Illebroom goes inside out on his block on Patterson. And there, McCray cuts up field. What a valuable person he has been to that offense this year.
Tim McCray, 28 years of age and just now hitting his full stride, having a terrific year. So is Tom Burgess. He can run a little bit as well as all those passing exploits he's achieved. And he scampers for 11 yards up to the 27. Another first down for Saskatchewan.
When I asked Al Bruno what was the most important thing he had to do defensively against the Riders, he said, we've got to have pressure, which is obvious, but we must contain Burgess. We can't just go flying upfield out of control, whacking people. We have to stay under control, so if Burgess does decide to step up and run, we can collapse.
The toss to McCray, right side on first down, and he finds very little room, bounces off a tackler to the 30, maybe the 31, for 3 or 4 yards. McCray with 378 rushing yards coming into this game on the season, another 246 on pass receptions, and he'd also returned 10 kickoffs for 229 yards, so very big part of Saskatchewan's offense and kick return team.
And a big part of that success is the right side of the offensive line as well as the left side. Can't leave the other guys out.
Second and 7, Riders at their 30. Burgess with time, looks for Fairholm, hit by Flagel, and the pass goes incomplete.
Well, Scott Flagel from that safety position's responsibility on that coverage is taking third man out. With Milson Jones and McDonald on that side, he did exactly that. Fairholm tried to delay a bit, then come across. Contact was perfect timing.
And those are the kinds of things, you talked about it in our opening, that Flagel wasn't doing last year, and the kinds of things that make him the good player he is.
Oftentimes people don't settle into trades right away, and Flagel didn't. But now he seems to be more comfortable and settled and happy to be in Hamilton.
3rd and 7 punt by Terry Baker. Zatilny at the Ticat 36. And he picks his way to center field and into the Rider 53-yard line. 5 minutes, 45 seconds left in the opening quarter at Ivor Wynne Stadium. 7-3 game. Saskatchewan leading Hamilton with 2 minutes, 59 seconds left in the opening quarter. Tonight at halftime, we look at Shenley Award-winning slotback Ray Elgard, now Saskatchewan's all-time leading receiver.
It does give you a little more notoriety. A couple of years ago when I was playing, teams would almost kind of not worry about the big, slow slotback, you know, and that has changed because of the success I've had lately in the last couple of years.
Ray Elgard in his 7th CFL season. He won the Shenley, of course, last year as best Canadian. But he was respected as a very good receiver prior to that, but now he's finding his name in lights more than ever before, and rightly so. He's a heck of a player.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the system they're using now that was put in place 3 years ago that highlights the slot backs and allows them not only to catch the ball in the middle, but go deep. And I wouldn't describe him as a big, slow slot back.
He's only caught 12 passes this season. Actually, he hasn't been happy with his play in a couple of games. But a key man in the Saskatchewan offense. Albert Brown with the Osbaldiston kickoff after the field goal, and he works it back out to the Rider 36, close to the 37-yard line. Steve Jackson, 74, in on the tackle.
Well, Tom Burgess, I think one of the things that he's improved on, or that comes with age, playing the quarterback and staying with the system for 3 years, is things in front of him in respect to coverages aren't moving as quickly. People don't fly in front of your face anymore. Things slow down with that time and experience. He reads so well now.
Started 10 games last year. The first 6, the last 4 did Burgess. Kent Austin played in between those games. Tim McRae with a first down carry finds very little running room. Lorenz in on the stop, so was big Mike Walker.
Asked Bruno whether the defense was going to suffer at all without having Skillman in there, because he's been a pretty good defensive end for them for a number of years. And he said, no, we don't lose much with moving Lorenz inside and putting Glanton on the end.
Bruno pacing the sidelines as the Riders look at a 2nd and 10 from their 36-yard line. Burgess, lots of time, looks for Ray McDonald. Tight coverage. Too tight, I think, maybe. Lance Shields on the coverage. There is a penalty flag down. Whether it's pertaining to the play we just saw or something else on the field, we'll wait and see.
The holding call on the backside. I don't think it was where the ball was thrown. I think it was on the other side of the field against Flagel on Narcisse.
Holding. Hamilton, number 18. First down.
That's Sonny Gordon, defensive halfback, who was on the other side of the field. Neil called for holding. Gives the Riders a first down at their 46-yard line. McDonald wide left. Narcisse splits to the right. Both backs and the slot backs in motion for Burgess, who throws a quick pass to Ray McDonald, and he gets up to the 53-yard line against Lance Shields for a gain of 7 yards.
Well, good tight coverage by the cornerback, Lance Shields, and he plays off 7 yards on McDonald when the ball is thrown, but he moves up quickly. And I'll tell you, if he doesn't make that tackle, McDonald's allowed to spin to the outside. Without help, there could have been a problem.
McDonald doesn't see much of the ball. He had only 8 catches coming into this game. 2nd and 3, Riders. Swing past Milson Jones. That left side has some room for Jones, and he'll get the first down of the Ticat 47-yard line. Darrell Patterson came across to make the tackle.
Just that quick little swing pass to Milson Jones. He checks for absolutely no one. There goes the offensive lineman. Now Milson Jones will wait just that 1 second, let the big guys get out there and start knocking some people down. Of course, we've talked about his footwork. He gets back inside and out and does get that first down well.
Milson Jones along with Tim McRae giving the Riders a great combination in the backfield. McRae carries on first down and finds a good hole down near the Ticat 40 for 7 or 8 yards.
Well, Saskatchewan shows you that formation with Milson Jones moving up to the line of scrimmage like they're going to sprint, and there are so many different types of plays that Burgess can call from there, be it an audible or from the huddle. Makes it tough on a defense. If they think you're going outside, they start to move, and you can come back in with the draw.
Riders with an excellent running game. 143 yards per game is their average, second only to Edmonton in the CFL. Burgess wanted to throw over the middle to Milson Jones, but he got tangled up with a defender. And so on 3rd and 3, the Roughriders will send out their field goal team.
Frank Robinson works inside, sees his man come, now gets to the inside position. Little tug in the sweater to slow Milson Jones down a bit. A little tug never hurt, I guess.
I said he got tangled up. That's one way of describing it, I guess. So on 3rd and 3, we'll see Dave Ridgway, 16 out of 18. This is a 47-yard try. Has a little bit of wind behind him. No problem with the distance, but he's wide left. A little surprised. Ridgway seldom misses. When he does, you shake your head a bit. Scott Flagel will try to get outside with this, and if he does, he's going to find some room, which he runs out of at the Hamilton 20-yard line. On that note, the first quarter ends with Saskatchewan leading the Ticats 7-3. The cast is just starting to warm up. Saskatchewan leading Hamilton 7-3. The second quarter begins with the Ticats at their 21-yard line with a 1st and 10. Kerrigan puts it up long, and it's no good. Intended for either Estelle or Champion. Looked like Estelle. Champion had broken his pattern off to the sideline.
John Hoffman, who's a backup defensive back, also has one of those play sheets strapped or taped to his left wrist. Charting plays, what the defense is calling. Jesus, the game's getting awfully complicated, isn't it?
A lot of things to keep track of, it seems. 2nd and 10, Ticats at their 21. Kerrigan, big rush, but he gets it away quickly. And again, Estelle had turned around looking like he was running a hook pattern, Neil, and the ball was thrown further downfield. Kerrigan doesn't seem to be in sync with his receivers.
Well, I think that's just two miscommunications. Estelle there looked in quickly to Kerrigan to see if the ball was going to be thrown on the hot. Then he continued upfield and slowed down again, and it's, well, you can bet they'll talk about it on the sidelines.
Ball is Balderston to punt on 3rd and 10 from the Ticat 21-yard line. Nice kick with the wind. Albert Brown at the 40. Tried to take the overland route. Pete Giftopoulos down to make the tackle. A 51-yard kick by Balderston, made even better by a 5-yard loss on the attempted return. Pete Giftopoulos for the special teams play.
Good job of everyone staying in their lanes. Al Bruno told us one of the a couple of the changes on the roster with Steve Jackson and Lee Knight playing both receivers is because of their play on special teams. Something has been lacking there. Hopefully they can do it.
Something lacking in the Hamilton offense, and Al Bruno is overseeing a discussion about that. Quick pass by Burgess intended for Fairholm, but thrown a little bit behind him. Jackson replaced Jacques Chapdelaine on the Hamilton roster to improve the special teams. John Gregory feels that 12 wins should be good enough to finish first in the West, even though the Edmonton Eskimos are 5-1 already. And watching the Eskimos last night in Ottawa, you think they have a pretty good shot at winning 12. Tim McRae, the intended receiver on 2nd down, but Robinson and then Scott Flegel made things difficult for him.
Well, there's what you want to have. Good coverage by Robinson, who gets put on backs across the league, and then Flegel coming up and tattooing him in the chest. Tight coverage by Robinson, who makes a great play, and then just a little reminder there by Flegel.
Did Robinson get his hand on McRae again that time a little bit?
If it wasn't called, he didn't have his hand on him.
Not necessarily. 3rd down and 10. Riders at their 34. Baker punting, and the wind grabs this one and just drags it sideways and out of bounds around center field.
Well, the belly of the ball is up, and that's the worst thing you can have into a wind, because that wind will just catch it and let it sit in the air and ultimately drive it back and just drop straight down. The result is 22 yards.
We're number one! We're number one, guys! Chin up!
Well, fans will go to different lengths to show their support for the home side. We saw one example of that there. 1st and 10, Ticats from their 54, and a fumble on the exchange as James Curry was in the backfield to break up the handoff from Kerrigan to McAdoo.
Well, you need not a lot of time to hand the ball off, but you do need some time, and you see Curry right there hits the arm of Kerrigan before the ball even gets a chance to slide into McAdoo's belly, and Miles Grell gets a chance to fall on it before Curry gets back on it.
It's almost incomprehensible that Curry, without being offside, could be where he was on that play so fast.
Well, with an offensive lineman moving or pulling and he hits a gap, that's how it happened.
5-yard loss. Kerrigan to Estelle, and hit hard by Steve Crane at the 47 of Saskatchewan, and he'll be within a yard, a half a yard maybe, of a first down.
Well, if Steve Crane doesn't stand him up and hit him in the chest and drive him back, Estelle would have had that first down. Crane back playing his first game after being hurt in the last preseason game. It's a little bit bigger this year, and John Gregory's glad to have him back at that outside linebacker spot.
And they really missed those types of plays on that side of the field with Crane out for the first 5 games. Well, they're short by a foot, maybe a foot and a half. And the Ticats are going to go for it, sending in some extra blocking. We're 3 minutes into the 2nd quarter. Saskatchewan leading Hamilton 7-3.
Number 34 there really is Mark Moore, one of the backup offensive linemen, and they'll put out, looks like, either a tight end position or maybe even in the backfield as a lead blocker.
Moores had been deleted from the roster and put on the practice roster, but he was brought back with the injury to Hutchings and having to move Darryl Harley into a starting right guard spot. Harley from Regina, traded to Hamilton earlier this year. 3rd down and a foot and a half. Ticats. Kerrigan to McAdoo, and he was hit short by Albright, but he drove Albright back and will be close to the first down. All depends now on where the officials feel the football should be placed.
It's going to be a very close spot. They're saying, pull on that chain. Curry's in there saying, that, yeah, there's some slack in that chain.
They got it by, what, 3 inches?
Tough defensive play by Albright. Good collision at the line of scrimmage, and Albright moves to where the ball carrier is going, and just gets in there and sticks his head and stops the forward progress.
Good play by both Albright and McAdoo. McAdoo winning the battle by a couple of inches. First down, Ticats. McAdoo carries and finds very little room to work off the left side to the 45 of the Roughriders.
Well, everyone knows the Saskatchewan defense is tough. They've averaged only 73 yards against on the ground this year. And again, of course, it still is a young season, but that's still fairly impressive.
Only the Edmonton Eskimos have a better defensive record against the run. Second down and 9. Ticats at the Rider 45. Kerrigan has a man open, DiPietro, and he's to the 32-yard line, close to the 31 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Rocky DiPietro on the inside. He's going to go straight to the flat. Kerrigan looks to one side and snaps his shoulders around and gets DiPietro. You can throw it anywhere close to him, and he's going to catch it. See that head go to the right immediately? Makes the read, then comes to the backside. James Curry very, very close all the time.
First and 10, Ticats at the Rider 32. The toss to McAdoo, left side, nowhere to go. He'll try to go back the other way. Now inside. Nifty running by McAdoo to the Rider 25. He makes 7 yards out of nothing.
Just an outstanding effort of McAdoo to come to the one side, realize it's been shut down, and then come back. I guess that ankle doesn't bother him anymore. He's got Curry on one shoulder. Jurison forced him to come back. Now the chase is on, and instead of going wide, nice job of picking his way up through there and spinning away.
Second down, Ticats, 3 yards to go at the Saskatchewan 20. Kerrigan to the end zone. Touchdown, champion.
What a great throw by Kerrigan. The release to the outside. Skipper has the inside shoulder. You see how quickly the ball was thrown? You saw it go through the screen. Skipper never got a chance to snap his head around, and then Champion had the ball thrown exactly in the perfect spot.
20 yards. Kerrigan to Tony Champion. As Baldiston with the convert, and the Ticats lead 10-7. 10 minutes, 6 seconds left in the first half. Plays. They lead the Riders from Saskatchewan 10-7. And as Baldiston drives the kickoff to the 5 into the arms of Tim McRae. And he's down by Costello, a rookie linebacker, and Steve Jackson at the 25-yard line of Saskatchewan.
You see how quickly that ball is being thrown. The offensive linemen in the backs are trying to get into their blockers quickly, keep the hands down, and boy, what a perfect spot for the football to be thrown.
Tony Champion scoring his 3rd touchdown of the season, make that his 4th. And the Riders now down by 3. Tom Burgess. And incomplete, looking for Ray McDonald up at the 40-yard line. McDonald, I was going to say lost his balance, but John Gregory's presence indicates that he feels McDonald had help in losing his balance.
He was down in front of him. He had a good view.
Burgess will try to convert a 2nd and 10 from the Rider 25. Over the middle, he finds Ray McDonald, but he can't get away from Darrell Corbin. Or Lance Shields, pardon me, up at the 35-yard line, very close to a first down. They say it is a Saskatchewan first down. Boy, there was a lot of yards to be gained there if he could get away from Shields.
It just shows you how tightly Shields was. Saskatchewan wanted to have some more lateral movement from the receivers to get away from the physical bumping at the line of scrimmage. You do that by crossing patterns, receivers running one way or the other laterally before the ball snapped. And as you say, that was close.
Burgess back to pass, puts it long down the right side. Narcisse is open, but he leads him just a little bit too far.
Narcisse had that sideline, and the ball a little bit too far to the outside. That little pump fake was just enough to get Shields to stop moving his feet.
Tom Burgess showing great touch on those long throws, and again, I think that's an area that he's improved in too.
Well, you need the touch on the football when you're throwing it over a defensive halfback's or corner's shoulders. You can't just zip the ball in there.
Second down and 10 for the Riders at their 35. 8.5 minutes to go till halftime. Hamilton leading Saskatchewan 10-7. Burgess throws against pressure, looking for Elgard, and Flagel intercepts at the Hamilton 42. This game is brought to you by Foster's Lager on the Canadian Football Network.
What a great job of, after he's made contact with the ball in his right hand, watch how he will squeeze it to his right thigh so he doesn't drop it right there. And then he slides it back up to his waist and chest as he goes down on his back.
First turnover of the game. Flagel played 6 years in Winnipeg, signed as a free agent with Calgary last year, and then traded here early last season for Kenny Ford. Kerrigan wants it, Tilney long, and he has him. And he'll score.
Tilney's shown us some great quickness on punt returns this evening, but right here, this ball, you talk about a fingertip catch. He gets those hands out just when the ball gets there so it doesn't slow him down when he's running, and then he just explodes away from Albert Brown. Well, if that doesn't build confidence in your quarterback and the receiver, nothing will.
So who's Earl Winfield? That's who Tilney's replacing in this game. As Balderson adds the convert, there is a flag on the play. Zatilny in his second year from Bishops, a draft choice of the Calgary Stampeders last year. Traded to Hamilton. We have 7.5 minutes to go until halftime, and Hamilton now 10 points in front.
Indian Jack Jacobs starred in Grey Cup 1953, but the Tiger Cats won the prize. Priority Post Courier presents Championship Moment.
When Canada's business relies on fast...
With 46 passes attempted and 31 completions during the 1953 Grey Cup game. But while the Tiger Cat defense bent, it did not break as Hamilton prevailed 12-6. The biggest play came with no time left as a jarring hit by Lou Cusserow prevented a Jacobs to Tom Casey completion near the goal line. Join us again next time when Priority Post Courier presents Championship Moments.
Mike Kerrigan is 2 for his last 2 for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Tom Burgess will try to do something about that. Burgess took the Riders 59 yards for a score. The first time they had the ball, a pass to Don Narcisse for the touchdown. But the Hamilton defense has not given the Riders much since then. Burgess to Narcisse, complete at the 45 to the 48. The ball comes out, but they rule he was down.
Ball came out with a big hit by Will Lewis just as Narcisse was hitting the ground. You get a chance to see how quick Narcisse can fly when he comes and after he makes his break coming across the field. Very much under control, a couple changes in acceleration, and now he's opening right up. Middle's open, Shields is in chase. You'll see the hit right there. The ball pops out, but he was down.
Riders from their 48, 1st and 10 handoff. Tim McRae hit as soon as he got the ball, and that was Darryl Corbin.
Well, the Ticats are moving their linebackers around a bit. They're not consistent in who's in. Now it's Corbin, Giftopoulos, and Patterson on the outside. See how he finds that gap and comes up and just puts a hit on McRae. That's what he showed us a lot of last year. That's why the Ticats have been so high on him.
The pleasant problem for Bruno, Neil, is when Corbin is healthy, he says, I have to play the guy. He's too good. We can't leave him out of the lineup. 2nd and 12. And the pass to Narcisse is complete at the Ticat 48 for a Rough Rider first down. Same play that we saw 2 plays ago.
This time the ball was thrown a little bit more quickly. The quarterback's going to have to read it. It can't always be the same spot because depending on how the inside receiver, as you saw come through his face, how quickly he can clear out.
Don Narcisse healthy this year. And what a difference he's made. From the Hamilton 48, McCray carries, breaks 1 tackle, gets to the 42 for a gain of 6. There are Saskatchewan fans all over this country, and some of them happen to be at Iverwin Stadium tonight. Sending a message back home, wherever that might be. Vic Stevenson, the right tackle of the Riders, shaken up. That offensive line of Saskatchewan, Neil, is a very good one. I don't know where it would rate in the league. That would be a very subjective thing, but John Gregory says they are playing very, very well.
For at least one play, Bill Henry will come in and take his spot at tackle, but you can't have success on offense throwing the ball or running without your offensive line doing the things that are necessary. And a lot of times it's not just blocking somebody, but it's the mental preparation, being able to pick people up. A defense like Edmonton runs, for example, they throw everyone at you and more. And if you don't know who you have to block when people are jumping around, you can be confused. And when that confusion takes place, that's when the offense breaks down.
Bill Henry replaces Stevenson at tackle. Bob Poley would come in and play center or guard if they had an injury there. Stevenson, 28 years of age, in his 8th year.
Go, Big D!
5 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the first half at Iverwin Stadium. The Ticats lead Saskatchewan 17-7. The Riders moving now 2nd down and 4 at the Hamilton 42. Burgess to McCray, and he can't catch the ball. Oh, and he was open and would have added at least 10 yards had he caught it. But he couldn't catch it.
They had Hamilton in a man situation. They sent 3 receivers, one being Milson Jones, the running back, to one side and completely cleared out that side of the field.
Burgess zipped the ball pretty good, but it was very catchable. Kent Austin is in the game, right behind the center, giving the Riders a threat of that fake. Now he backs off, but he still might get the ball. No, it goes to Terry Baker, the punter. And he tries to kick it out of bounds. It'll bounce at the 10 of the Ticats and go out at their 9-yard line. So Baker does a good job of angling the football out of bounds at the Hamilton 9 with 4:49 left in the first half. Well, our next 2 games on the Canadian Football Network are Monday with Ottawa-Toronto, 7:30 Eastern Time. And then we will have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Calgary on Tuesday night. And that one's at 9:30 Eastern Time as those 2 teams play a rematch of their game earlier this week. Mike Kerrigan and the Ticats from their 9-yard line. Zatilny wide left, champion to the right. Kerrigan will keep it on the ground. Tony Trulove in the game. And he's out to the 13-yard line. Ticats with 2 American running backs dressed.
Trulove from Livingston University, a native of Alabama. Had some good years there as a rushing and receiving running back. Was found by Frank North. Actually, Frank North coached at Livingston from 84 to 85. Now Frank North coaches with the Ticats, the linebackers and special teams.
Trulove, David Adams, and McAdoo, the 3 running backs in training camp, and all about equal during the preseason and training camp period. Kerrigan with big pressure, and he will not get away down at the 5-yard line. Vince Goldsmith. Saskatchewan leads the CFL in sacks with 21, or they did coming into this game, and Goldsmith has just added another one.
And that's the classic example of giving pressure then collapsing when Kerrigan tried to release, find himself a gap. Even though he would probably be the first to admit he's not a great scrambler, they just closed the pocket on him.
And the Ticats will have to punt. Ball at their 6-yard line, their 3rd down and 14. That's Baldiston, almost 10 yards in the end zone. And he doesn't get a great kick away. Albert Brown at the Hamilton 40. And back to the Tiger Cat 30. They're going to mark him down at about the 32. A 36-yard punt. And a 9-yard return by Albert Brown at the 33-yard line is where they mark it.
I'm sure Al Bruno would like to see Saskatchewan start from a little bit further back than where they are now at the, you said, at the 33-yard line.
Well, the wind favors the Ticats. Just looking at the flags, it does, but it is swirling a bit, and it looked to catch that punt a little bit and hold it back. So Tom Burgess and the Rider offense afforded good field position at the Ticat 33. Burgess, the pass incomplete. Very catchable football, dropped again, and Burgess once again got corked.
Well, I'll tell you, corked might be a little bit mild. Burgess has to throw the ball, and he's throwing to his left, so his right arm is back and exposes his chest. And watch it, just tagged right there by Mike Walker.
2 passes in a row Burgess has had dropped on him. That's another one of the reasons he's under 50% completion-wise, according to John Gregory. Is all the drops he's had. 2nd and 10 now at the Hamilton 33. Burgess very coolly in the pocket, looks into the end zone and overthrows Ray McDonald.
Well, that time, as compared to the last play, there was a perfect pocket. Not a straight drop back, but a bit of a roll, and it was successful on protection.
This is a Foster's Lager telecast on the Canadian football, dealing with a wind factor as he kicks the ball.
Bob Poley asking to have the ball changed. He's allowed to do that. If there's something sticky or a little bit slippery on the football that he can't get a good grip to get it back to Suter.
Ridgway missed one in the first quarter. And this time, he drives it through from the 40. Well, for Ridgway to miss 2 in a row, they might have to pick you and I up off the floor here, not to mention John Gregory. 2:41 left until halftime. It's now Hamilton 17, Saskatchewan 10.
Nothing much changes from game to game and kick to kick with Dave Ridgway. The key to his success is his consistency, along with the good holds by Suter and good snaps by Poley on a consistent basis.
Well, Suter is so important to Ridgway. He was injured last year at one point, couldn't play, but they kept him in the lineup so he could hold for Ridgway.
You like to feel comfortable with the people around you. So I asked Lou Pisagli when he was playing here with the BC Lions, what's the most important thing? Is it mechanical? He said, no, it's preparation. It's mental. Knowing you're going to get the protection that you have to hold. If you're the Ticats on defense, Patterson and Frank Robinson take a break.
Ridgway follows his field goal with a kickoff. Tony Trulove will field it at the Ticat 18. And he gets it back out near the 45 of Hamilton. Bruno wanting to just have a look at Trulove in a game situation. They used Adams in Saskatchewan 3 weeks ago. Now Trulove gets his chance. They are probably not going to keep both of those people along with McAdoo around all season. So Trulove is on trial a little bit tonight. Talk about percentages. Kerrigan under 50%, but
up by 10.
7,
huh?
10 until a few seconds ago. 17-10 Hamilton. Kerrigan and company from the 44. A reverse to Wally Zatelny. Kerrigan throws a block, but it doesn't help Zatelny. He's stopped by Jurison for a loss of about 5 yards.
But wouldn't have been stopped by Jurison if Eddie Lowe hadn't made that great defensive play by reading the reverse. C42 left your screen. He's going to move. Now he already starts to go to the spot to where the reverse is going. Reads the play perfectly, really breaks it up, and allows Jurison to get up there and pull down Zatelny.
And when you've played a while, as Eddie Lowe has, you recognize things like that. It's a 4-yard loss. 2nd down and 14 Ticats at their 40. And Kerrigan, a quick pass to Tony Champion, who is hit at the 50 by 3 Riders, the last one being Harry Skipper. Gain of 10 yards, but still 4 away from a Hamilton first down.
A quick hitch, defensive man's playing off. You just come off, take 2 steps, wait for the ball. He had to come back inside probably a little bit more than he wanted to. When you have to look at a guy like Albright and you have to come back in, you know it's not going to be a pleasant situation. And the way he was twisted, you know, when your feet are in that astroturf, you get twisted like that.
I was thinking that too. It was a frightening looking tackle on Champion, but didn't bother him. Albert Brown with his Baldiston's punt. And he's stopped back at the 11-yard line of the Riders looking for room. There is a flag on the play. 47-yard punt by Paulus Baldiston, a holding penalty against Saskatchewan. So they will
Penalty marker on the
be
play.
put even further back toward their goal line.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 38. First down.
John Gregory mentioned that they have to do some work on their execution on punt return. And Steve Crane got called for holding, just push them back that much more.
1:51 left in the first half. The Riders at their 6.5-yard line with a 1st and 10. Hand out to McCray. Slips as he tried to turn it back through the middle. Got to the 9 for a gain of 2 or 3.
The ball carrier.
But would have had a couple more at least had he not lost his footing.
What Saskatchewan needs to do here is put a couple of first downs together, get them out of their own end zone, and not give the ball back to Hamilton so they can get a minimum of 3 points before the half ends with 1:40 and counting left.
So this becomes a key play. 2nd down and 8. Riders at their 9-yard line. Burgess long down the left sideline. No good. Over the head of intended receiver Ray McDonald. And Kerry Baker and the Riders punt team out of the field with 1:26 to go in the first half.
You're right. You're right. Don't start that from the whistle blow.
And Baker will have to deal again with the wind. He's kicking into it from 6 or 7 yards in his own end zone. Pretty good kick. Zatilny at the 44 of Saskatchewan finds the seam and gets back to the 33. So with 1:17 left in the first half, the Ticats leading by 17 to 10. A great chance to put some more on that. A 35-yard kick and an 11-yard return.
Once again, Flegel, this time coming up the middle, has to get your arms out to stop people from getting penetration. Bill Henry does that by blocking one with his left shoulder and Flegel with his right arm.
And we'll keep our eyes on Flegel and Henry because I have a feeling they're not finished yet. Kerrigan to Estelle. Good move on Richie Hall to get a couple of extra yards to the Rider 29. Gain of 4, maybe 5 on the play.
Kerrigan, I'm sure, not just satisfied to go in with a field goal, would like to get it in the end zone, but not taking any chances of turning the ball over. If he throws it and it can't be completed, you can bet he'll be throwing it away.
2nd down and 6. Ticats at the Rider 29, 1:11 left in the first half. Clock won't start till the ball is snapped. That last play went out of bounds. Kerrigan to Estelle. Down to the 22 of the Riders. That should be good enough for a first down. And Estelle appeared to hurt himself on the play.
And he made the tackle. Estelle, the injured ball player.
Not only did he appear to, he did. Al Bruno's been very happy with the play of Richard Estelle. Had 14 catches on the season coming into this game.
It's simply a crossing pattern. You see Albright drop to your right. Estelle comes underneath the drop of the linebackers, tries to hit up and then changes his mind. It's spun down there. Almost looked like he jammed his shoulder, but when bodies flying around, it's tough to say what he did hurt. Everyone's going to that, or a lot of people now are going to that sleeve on both arms to cover up or cut down the potential turf burns.
Paulus Baldiston getting ready if he's called on to kick a field goal, but the Ticats have loftier intentions as they are at the Rider 23 with a 1st and 10. Lee Knight comes into the game to replace Richard Estelle. Pat slot back. Minute 5 left in the first half at Iverwin Stadium. The Ticats lead Saskatchewan 17-10. A couple of 4-1 football teams going at it. Kerrigan, quick drop, quick throw on first down for Champion, and he can't bring it in. Scored a touchdown on an identical play earlier in this quarter.
Exactly the same play, Bob. This time, Champion, I think you're going to see a bit of a push here coming down near the goal line. Right there, trying to get some separation. Skipper's that close. But Skipper this time, after he gets pushed off, looks at the ball and reacts and really does a nice job of knocking the ball away.
46 seconds in the half remaining. Second down and 10, Ticats at the Rider 23. Tommy in motion left. Kerrigan throws for Champion. Touchdown.
Kerrigan has to get rid of the ball quickly. Suter from the left side of your screen has moved over from halfback and blitzed from that side. Richie Hall has him inside out where he wants him, but with the ball underthrown, Champion recognizes that very quickly, comes underneath, and of course with Suter gone from the safety spot, there's no one there to stop him.
3 touchdown passes this quarter for Mike Kerrigan. 2 of them to Tony Champion. There was a flag on the convert by Osbaldiston. If it's good, it'll be 24-10 Hamilton, and it is good. The penalty against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, whatever was lacking last week against Calgary, Al Bruno figuring that they weren't prepared and ready to go. That's not the case tonight. See the adjustment? Richie Hall figures he's going to stay to the outside, but because Kerrigan has to throw it quickly because of the blitz, the timing was perfect for both of them.
Just a great combination, a good sense of timing and understanding between Kerrigan and Champion, and Richie Hall got lost in the whole thing, and it turned into an easy Ticat touchdown.
Well, I'm sure Hall figured he's going to go right up the seam. I'm going to stay to his inside to make it difficult to catch the ball to the inside, but Kerrigan had other plans.
Miles Gorell, 66, congratulating Mike Kerrigan. His 3 touchdown passes in this quarter give him 9 on the season to equal his number of interceptions thrown. Osbaldiston kicks off to McCray at the 5. And McCray back to the 35. Scott Flagel with a good tackle as Tim McCray is going full speed. 33 seconds left now in the first half.
Bob, you mentioned earlier about McCray's impact as an offensive player, passing and receiving. He's over 650 yards. You can't discount what he also does on kickoff returns in some punt situations, so that's quite a dimension of this team.
Well, down by 14 points. You would think Burgess will try to get those back, and he does. Intercept it. Giftopoulos going up to grab the ball. The throw by Burgess, and the Ticats have a chance to get some more.
The defense simply sliding. You watch them go. There goes the linebacker. He goes with the back that's blocking up. Burgess is going to throw back. Giftopoulos is sliding with the rest of his defense and just simply pops into the screen. Burgess obviously wasn't expecting that. It's not easy to catch a ball with some zip on it when it's only been thrown about 10 yards either.
Riders' first pick last year traded to the Ticats. This is hometown, and Giftopoulos has his first career interception. It's at the Rider 38, and Kerrigan will screen to the right side to McAdoo, and if he gains a yard, he'll be lucky. Let's see where they mark him. His forward advancement is around the Rider 37. 17 seconds left in the first half as Giftopoulos looks on to see if they can capitalize on his interception. Meanwhile, Champion and Suter were having a little duel.
Well, that battle will continue as the game goes on. Champion will bump into more than Glenn Suter as this second half Hamilton would love to just drive this one in, wouldn't it?
The clock is running. Ticats better hurry up or they won't even have a chance for the field goal. 5 seconds as Kerrigan throws down the sideline. 1 second. They've stopped it with one. No, the time is out, but there's a flag. There's a penalty flag on the play. And if it's against Hamilton, the Riders will decline, and the Ticats won't get a shot at the field goal. And what a big mistake that would be. They're talking to Gary Lewis. Now, the Riders can decline this penalty, or James Curry.
Pass interference. Hamilton, number 87, declined.
And the half ends. The Ticats let the clock run down, but they still lead by 14, 24-10 at halftime. And he'll score. Burgess for Elgard. He's open, and he gets away, and he'll score. Touchdown, Saskatchewan, Ray Elgard.
Since 1983, Saskatchewan's Ray Elgard has been developing into the CFL's premier slot back. His 6'4", 225-pound frame haunts the opposition.
You know, there was a definite turnaround in my success that I've had playing football from the first year to, let's say, the end of the second year or third year. And I think it was just playing time. You know, I think a guy comes and he's got a certain amount of skills. And, you know, they don't really get sharper as you get older. You know, your skills tend to diminish, but you start to learn more about, you know, how to use your skills better to your advantage and how to do things with less skill. And I think that's just experience.
And now it gives me great pleasure to give you the 1988 Most Outstanding Canadian, Ray Elgard.
It would be number one on a personal level. It was the best season I ever had, and it came at a good time for me because it was the best season our team had. And so I told you that, you know, the stuff you're doing is meaningful to, you know, the success of the team. And so it was really exciting for me.
Elgard's outstanding play obviously directed more recognition his way. The Edmonton native has averaged over 16 yards per catch in 6 CFL seasons.
You know, I think he's got the leadership roles that he's taken very well this year with the receivers, and I just think most defenses have to always say to themselves when they play us, number one, we have to stop Ray Elgard. And as soon as they have to do something like that, then that leaves everybody else with a better chance to be open.
Well, I think he is Mr. Saskatchewan. He is a guy that's very dedicated to winning. He works very, very hard. I just can't say enough about the effort that Ray Elgard gives our football team.
It does give you a little more notoriety. A couple of years ago when I was playing, teams would almost kind of not worry about the big, slow slot back, you know, and that has changed because of the success I've had lately in the last couple of years.
Elgard entered this season on the verge of breaking various Roughrider records. It didn't take long to pass the likes of Chris DeFrance and Hugh Campbell to become Saskatchewan's all-time leader in pass reception. On August the 7th, he did just that.
It's something you try not to pay attention to until you've kind of got it. You know, people ask you about it, and then you start thinking about it, and it starts weighing on you, and then, you know, and it came at a time when I was kind of struggling on the field. I was dropping a couple of passes here and there, and, you know, it's something you purposely don't think about. And now that it's over, I've got the record. It's really nice. It's you know, it's really an honor to, you know, be the leading receiver in the history of this team.
Away from the field, the soon-to-be 30-year-old rarely seeks attention. He's too busy remodeling his home.
He doesn't bring the game home with him, so I don't get to hear a lot about what goes on while he's at work, or we don't talk much about the plays after the games, things like that. So it's a different attitude when we're home. It's light, and we just communicate more about anything other than what our jobs are, and I think that's important. There's two things I'm not allowed to give advice on, and number one is golf, and number two is football, so no advice.
The accolades bestowed to Elgard last season were a direct reflection of the team's performance. The recognition for making the playoffs is minimal compared to a trip to the Grey Cup.
I don't think it was good enough for the players. It may have been for the fans, kind of get a monkey off their back. But, you know, if you've been in the locker room after the BC game last year, you would have known that it's not good enough just to make the playoffs. And I think the players on the team feel the same way this year. And, you know, no one's going to be satisfied until they go all the way.
Last 2 years, his first sack of the night, 4th of the season. 31 years of age and going strong. Mike Walker. Second down and many for Burgess and the Riders. Burgess intercepted by Lance Shields. And he's brought down from behind by Fairholm at the 24 of the Riders.
Burgess rolling to the left side of the field, trying to get away from the pressure, setting up the pocket and moving it around. But he threw that ball a little bit late and a little bit to the inside. You can't wait for the receiver to come open. You have to throw it to that point, to the outside. And he didn't do that. That allowed Shields in already close coverage to get a good jump on the ball and pick it off.
Second interception of the night for Hamilton. The first one by Scott Flagel. That's the 3rd of the year for Lance Shields. And they have 3 tonight. I forgot the Giftopoulos one. That's 3. McAdoo carrying on first down. Gets away from about 4 Riders. Can he outrun Richie Hall? No, he can't. Hall brings him down at the 29 for a loss of 4 or 5.
Had to go a long way to get a couple of yards.
Well, to lose 4 or 5 yards. And you wonder what it would take for Gregory to take Burgess out of the game, because again, you know, we talked to him before. He spoke so highly of Kent Austin and Jeff Bentram, their 3rd quarterback, who has yet to dress for a game. Burgess is not having the kind of night that he's had in so many of his earlier games. Kerrigan looks in the end zone. There's a flag down. The ball intercepted by Albert Brown, but there is a penalty flag. Now it's either going to be holding or a late hit by the Roughriders.
Hamilton, number 68, declined. Saskatchewan, first down.
He declined. Saskatchewan will get that ball, and that shows you the difference between the two plays. If the ball is thrown to the outside, as Tony Champion has seen a couple times, or if the ball is thrown to the inside where the coverage is taking place. This time, it's the defender, Albert Brown, adjusting to the ball with Satilny to the outside. So the importance of getting that ball over that defender is proven right there.
And very important for the Roughriders that they stem the tide here. Neil, we've just started the second half. They're down by 14. If Hamilton goes in and scores there, I don't know, it's a long way back for Saskatchewan.
And 14 is really nothing. I mean, it's a couple of touchdowns, and we've seen how quickly those can happen tonight.
So the Riders should get a lift from that. Let's see if they can take advantage of it. Burgess will just get rid of it to McCray, but he can't squeeze it.
The Ticats downfield are doing a fine job in coverage. Burgess eventually throws the ball out to McCray in the flat. His 3rd, maybe 4th receiver in his scheme there. They must be doing a good job downfield because he had great time to throw it.
By the way, I just want to make it clear that I don't feel Burgess should be taken out at this stage in the game. I raised the question because John Gregory hasn't had to face that decision since the first game of the year when he took out Austin and put Burgess in. So you wonder what it will take. Fairholm over the middle at the 34-yard line. I think you stay with Burgess, though, as well as he's played. You stay with him, certainly until the 4th quarter.
Well, every coach has his point where he makes a decision, whether it's momentum, it's a personnel change, something to stir up the offense. But you're right, Burgess has had a great deal of success this year, and a lot of it's come from his ability to read defenses. Now, maybe he just hasn't been in a groove, thanks to the Hamilton defense.
Well, he's had 2 drop, too, remember, those 2 drops in the second quarter that were very costly. It's 3rd down for the Riders and about a foot to go at their 34.5, and they will go for it. Burgess keeps flag down. Burgess looks like he got the first down, but there is a penalty.
Offside, Hamilton, number 62.
Offside Ticat, so the Riders had the first down anyway, but will take the 5-yard penalty and be up to the 40.
Short yardage, they're all going to come off. Defensive linemen want to get low underneath the pushing and surging of the offensive linemen, really to stop them up. Burgess has to find that one weak spot in the defense, and he does in just enough. But all for naught. They would have had the first down because of offside.
Riders have the wind with them in the third quarter. Burgess to McCray, and he had to reach ahead for it and couldn't make the catch.
James Curry seems to be in a bit of distress with the helmet still on. He's going to be bending over and looking for some sort of assistance, or just wants to be left alone.
He was shaken up the last time the Rider defense was on the field. Kerrigan threw the interception to Albert Brown. He was very slow getting up. Looks to be in a lot of pain. 2nd and 10. Riders at their 40. Burgess steps up in the pocket, bounces off Grover Covington, and right back into the arms of number 77.
Almost like he had a string on him, like a yo-yo. I'll bounce you back and then I'll pull you right back in. Bit of a stunt. Covington starts to the outside, comes back inside. Just collapses around the pocket. That's what Al Bruno was talking about. Contained, controlled rush, and when he steps up, fall down.
Covington, first sack of the night, 3rd of the year, and the Riders forced into a punting situation on 3rd and 14 from their 36. Kerry Baker hasn't had his best night kicking, and this isn't his best either. At the 42, Will Lewis has it for Hamilton and takes it out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Foster's Lager and the Canadian football of the Ticats at the Saskatchewan 24, and then on the next play, Albert Brown intercepted Mike Kerrigan. Ticats, after a punt, have the ball back, and this is McAdoo carrying for 5 yards up to the 52 of Hamilton, but there is a penalty flag. James Curry, by the way, is all right. He has a knee injury, but it's not serious. He'll be back in the game. Is back in the game.
Offside, Saskatchewan number 71, first down repeated.
Bob Jurison, 71, the top part of the screen, just gets a jump. I'm sure he'll come out pointing that he saw an offensive lineman move, but not in that situation. Nice situation, though, for Hamilton, 1st and 5.
Mike Kerrigan and the Ticats from their 53. The handoff goes to McAdoo, and he runs into the arms of Jurison, but pushes ahead close to a first down as we see an exchange. That's center Dale Sanderson of the Ticats and a couple of Riders.
Well, the offensive line understands how important, especially now, running the football will be. Sanderson comes off, gets in Curry's face. Jason Riley right in there, trying to get Curry downfield as far as they possibly can. There's 3 of them around him.
They'll measure for the first down. And the Ticats have it at the Rider 53-yard line. Mike Kerrigan, 3 touchdown passes in the 2nd quarter. Since Champion wide right, Champion was on the receiving end of 2 of them. Zatilny caught the other. He split wide left. And Kerrigan gives to McAdoo. He's handled the ball a lot tonight. Stopped this time for no gain. Steve Crane was one of the Riders in on the tackle, and David Albright was the other.
Once again, defensive play, they're going to have to shut it down. Curry's trying to get up inside, blocked awfully well. Plays going to the backside. That's what you call getting buried by center Dale Sanderson.
James Curry having a big year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He has had a well-traveled career in the CFL. 2nd and 10. Kerrigan loops it for McAdoo, wide open in the middle. Derek McAdoo to the Rider 15.
Before the season, Al Bruno said he wanted to get a running back who could hit the seams, come up with the big plays. Jet Tommy goes left, the help to that side. McAdoo blocks and goes straight down. Gets behind low and just inside of Richie Hall.
Well, they've used McAdoo a lot tonight. He'll leave now for a play. 3 catches, 64 yards. And we'll see Tony Trula.
Before the game started and all the players are warming up, John Gregory walked by Derek McAdoo and said, "I hope you went for a long run last night." And McAdoo said, "No, sir."
Got lots of energy tonight. James Curry first tried out for the CFL with Calgary and Saskatchewan back in 1980. Didn't make it, left the game. Joined BC in '83, played 9 games and was cut. Picked up by Montreal, immediately traded to Toronto, where he played 2 games. Claimed on waivers by Winnipeg from Toronto in June of '84. Traded back to the Argos in July. Played for the Argos '84 and '85, all Canadian both years. Then was cut prior to '86. Signed by Montreal in June of '86 and cut. Signed by Ottawa July of '86. Played 8 games. Traded to Saskatchewan in June of '87. He's been with 8 teams. Not because he lacks talent. His strong personality has clashed with some people along the way, but he's found a home, it appears, in Saskatchewan.
That's a mini-series, Bob.
Well, I said he's been around. Kerrigan from the 15. 1st and 10. We're back underway. Trulove with the football at the 5. Albert Brown hit him, but the rule he wasn't down, and Trulove fights to the 1-yard line.
Well, the play starts with a tremendous adjustment, turning his body around. The ball wasn't thrown in front, behind, so he has to adjust. And then after he makes the adjustment, he comes off a great hit. Look, he's basically backwards, then gets going upfield. Super balanced. Wants that touchdown.
And Albert Brown with one of those plays that you talk about so often. Didn't try to tackle him. He just tried to block him down. It didn't work.
Well, they go for the big contact, the big hit. And if the back can keep his feet, he keeps going.
Ticats 1st and goal at the 1. Trulove has the football and the touchdown.
It almost seemed like he hesitated when to jump. Should I jump here? No, I'll get closer and jump. Regardless, he went at the right time and just got the ball and broke the plane as he was pushed back by Jerison. And then a small rumble broke out in the end zone. Well, things are starting to heat up a bit.
Tony Trulove's first touchdown of the season of his CFL career, set up by a good run by Trulove himself and also by some good work from Derek McAdoo, who Trulove replaced. As Balderson will attempt to convert, and if good, it will put Hamilton in front of Saskatchewan 31-10 with 7:54 left in the 3rd quarter.
Well, to this point, Trulove's built a pretty good case that he should, in fact, stick around. They were impressed with him in training camp. You can see why.
Tom Burgess has completed only 3 of his last 11 passes, and he's had 3 intercepted, keeping in mind that 2 of those incompletions were drops by Ray McDonald and Tim McCray late in the 2nd quarter when the Riders could have moved into scoring range. Burgess to McCray, left side, has 2 yards, maybe 3. 50-year-old John Gregory, the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, with a .500 record coming into this game. 20 wins, 20 losses, 1 tie.
And he doesn't wear the headsets anymore, and if he had been wearing them tonight, I think they'd be broken by now.
Well, he can like some of the things he's seen, but he's actually been fairly composed. 2nd down and 7. Riders at their 42. Burgess, lots of time, nearly intercepted by Shields, intended for Ray McDonald.
Burgess still moving the pocket around a bit, but a lot of credit going downfield to the 5 secondary people. And a couple of times Shields has made good plays. Interception the last time, and now you see all the charge. Lorenz comes inside, the stunts are bringing them inside, so Burgess has a clear path to throw the ball, but again, I think he waits a little bit too long to get the ball to McDonald.
And then McDonald had to wait for the football, and that gave Shields a chance to move in. Terry Baker will punt, as you saw, having an off night. And this is a good kick by Baker. Zatilny on the run at the Hamilton 26. Gets away from the first man, and then a couple more to get it back to the 34-yard line.
Fans have had lots to cheer about. Even though the Rider fans are well outnumbered, there's even though they're down, they're not afraid to walk around that banner.
Well, despite what that sign says, the Ticats are feeding tonight off the Riders, leading 31-10 with 6.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Hamilton's next game is in Edmonton next week, and the Riders will play BC in Regina next Thursday. Kerrigan from the 34. Fakes to McAdoo. Looks for Champion, comes back, and nearly made an excellent catch. Harry Skipper with the coverage.
Well, we've seen Kerrigan, as Al Bruno said, they wanted to move that pocket around a bit tonight. We've seen him in a full sprint. We've seen him in the play action like that play and then belly back to the other side. It's buying him more time. It's not that he can't run with the football. He's got good lateral movement. He's just not the sprinting type of quarterback that a Tracy Ham or a Burgess is, but works very well within those conditions.
2nd and 10 at the 34 of the Ticats. Kerrigan sets up. Looks for Estelle, but it's just a little bit overthrown. And the Riders with Cedric Moses had very good coverage.
Well, Bruno has to face 3 games in the next 11 days. Came in with a team that was pretty much beaten up after that Calgary contest, but I think has to be pleased by the way they're responding. A couple of the players that are injured, like Skillman, might have been able to play. This was a playoff game, but I think he's smart by keeping people out and getting some fresh bodies in there.
Osbaldiston to punt into the wind. Harry Skipper looked like he was going to rush, and then he tried to hold up the receiver. Good bounce to Richie Hall. Good bounce for Hamilton. Hall at the 40, back to the 45, and up to the 48 of Saskatchewan. This CFN game is brought to you by Foster's Lager. No doubt enjoying every minute of it so far as Ray Elgard hauls in a Burgess pass, taking a pounding all the while, and gets the Riders to the 48-yard line.
More like the Burgess in the offense that we've seen from Saskatchewan. 3 steps, throws to the inside. Elgard was able to position himself for the catch.
And that has just put Elgard past Hugh Campbell as Saskatchewan's all-time receiver yardage-wise. Ray McDonald. Burgess with back-to-back completions. This is a 9-yard gain down to the 39-yard line of the Ticats.
That's quite a feat. Huey Campbell was a very successful and good receiver for the Riders. Just edged by him.
Elgard passed Chris DeFrance last week as the Riders' all-time reception leader, and tonight he gets the yardage record. Took him a while to get his first catch of the game and that second Rider record. Burgess on 2nd and 1 gives to McCray, and he's down to the 35 of the Hamilton Ticats. Ray Elgard in his 7th year out of the University of Utah, 2-time All-Canadian. 2nd-round draft choice back in 1983, and he's carving out quite a career.
Known to have that good jump on the football when it's snapped, always gets some momentum up so he doesn't have to start flat-footed, and brings in a pretty good average per catch, 23 yards per catch into this game. That's not bad.
Don't see tight ends in the CFL anymore, but he would be close to a tight end type of player. Burgess looking long for Don Narcisse. And he threw a little bit too far in front of the intended receiver.
Not really the only time we see the tight end lineup, though BC has shown it to, or had shown it to us this year earlier on, is in short yardage where they bring in an offensive lineman or another defensive lineman. Cedric Moses, who's starting at the halfback spot for the Riders, has some ice in that left knee. The rookie's had a tough start. I'm sure he wanted a little bit more auspicious beginning to his career, but
2nd and 10 Riders now at the Hamilton 35. Ticats leading 31-10. Burgess will take off and run, and with a move he gets to the 24 and gets a Saskatchewan first down. 3.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, and the Riders will want to score on this drive, obviously.
Watch the lane open up. Good block to the inside. Walker's pushed to the inside, and Skillman's to the out. And Corbin came over to take McCray, so that gap, very natural, opened up, and that again is what Bruno talked about. Just can't give this guy much room to run.
From the 24, 1st and 10. Burgess steps up in the pocket very nicely and puts it out along the sideline. Good coverage by Will Lewis on the intended receiver.
Burgess pass is incomplete.
Who was Don Narcisse. who hit his head against that wall that's so close to the playing field here at Ivor Wynne Stadium.
Ball thrown to the outside, almost sidearm. You see him push to the inside first, try to turn the hips of the secondary man. Doesn't have any part of it. Will Lewis goes with him, and you don't think that's a lot of fun. You're not only hitting asphalt, but you're sliding into the wall.
And Narcisse taking his time getting back to the huddle. He did something to his helmet. And the referee can only wait so long, and he'll have to whistle time in as he's done. Second down and 10 Riders. They're at the Hamilton 24-yard line. Big series for Saskatchewan, trailing by 21 points. Burgess to Fairholm, down to the 10, and he'll score.
Burgess pass is complete to Fairholm for the Saskatchewan touchdown.
What a big play by Fairholm, making a catch in a tough situation, then escaping the tackle by Flagel. 3 receivers to one side. Fairholm's left on the left side. You get to see him pass your face right here. Gets position of Stephen Jordan. The ball's thrown because of the opening, and Flagel gets there just a hair late and doesn't get to knock Fairholm down.
24 yards. Tom Burgess to Jeff Fairholm for the Saskatchewan touchdown. And the Riders are now down by 14. It's 31-17 for Hamilton with 2:44 remaining in the third quarter. And with the score, Hamilton 31 and Saskatchewan 17. We pause 10 seconds for the stations from coast to coast to identify themselves. You're watching the Canadian Football Network. And it has Saskatchewan back in the game, if in fact they were out of it, down by 21. They're now trailing by 14.
Well, Jeff Fairholm had a slow start by all regards to the way he finished last year. I think it's because defenses were paying more attention to him, at least that's what John Gregory told us. But he seems to have opened up. Came into the game 17 for 333 yards. Well on his way to 1,000.
Now 20 catches for 416. Indeed, he has come on very strong after not catching a lot in the first couple of games. That was Tony Trulov with the Ridgeway kickoff. And he brings it back out to the Hamilton 37-38 yard line.
Positioning is so important for a receiver. Saw Flagel start to move early. He's going to play deep to see if anything comes to him first. Because the ball was thrown probably a little quicker than he had anticipated, Fairholm got the chance to get it, then make that move.
Trulov's run back actually to the Hamilton 42. Mike Kerrigan goes to work from there. 2.5 minutes left, third quarter. Both these teams 4-1. McAdoo carrying. And Gary Lewis makes the tackle after McAdoo adds 3 or 4 more yards to his total for the night.
This is where the Saskatchewan defense has to come up and really take some of the sting out of what Hamilton's been doing on offense. They have to get that offense of Saskatchewan or theirs back on the field and keep that momentum for them going.
Kerrigan has been able to drive the ball effectively tonight. We'll see if he can keep this one going on 2nd and 6 from his 46. He throws to Champion, complete at the 50. There is a penalty flag down. And a 14-yard Hamilton gain will be wiped out by holding.
Holding, Hamilton number 58. Second down repeated.
Jason Riley, the left guard. He's caught holding. It's too bad. That was a pretty play. Well executed ball thrown to the outside well before Champion has made his cut. And the holding is on James Curry to the left side. Curry gets Riley's shoulders turned just a little bit. You got to protect your quarterback, and just in case you're not cut, you can latch onto him.
So it'll be 2nd down and 16, Ticats from their 36. Kerrigan underneath to McAdoo, and he's hit very hard by Steve Crane, the 4th-year linebacker out of Acadia, who has made his presence felt tonight.
Well, Tom Burgess' parents don't live far from here. They're in Rochester, and every time Burgess comes east, be it Toronto or Hamilton, possibly even Ottawa, they drive up. And tonight, he's got 23 relatives sitting in the stands, 8 of which are brothers and sisters, so you know the pressure's on a little bit. You want to show up for the family.
Well, you enjoyed having your family in the crowd, did you? I would think that adds a little pressure, though.
No, it's great.
3rd and 9, and the punt by Baldiston is a good one. And gets a good bounce to Albert Brown at the Rider 29, and he's back only to the 31 of the Riders. 1:03 to go, third quarter. It was a 39-yard kick by Baldiston into the wind, and Brown was only able to bring it back a couple of yards. So Tom Burgess will try to work those numbers back into even better shape after putting together a 7-play, 62-yard touchdown drive for the Riders the last time they had the ball. We'll start this time from their 31. McCray carries, good hole right side. Frank Robinson brings him down, but McCray has 7, maybe 8 yards.
Out of that sprint formation, McCray can either receive a fake or get the ball. Look how deep he is. Almost 4 yards before he does get the ball. Good chance for the offensive line to set things up for him, and more importantly for McCray to see what's being set up. If the point of attack isn't open, he'll find himself another seam.
Maybe too early to talk about outstanding player candidates in the CFL, but you'd have to throw this guy in there with, oh, I don't know, Fennerty, David Williams, Tim Jesse, those people. 2nd down and a couple. The Riders needed to get to their 41-yard line. McCray carrying, and he'll be close. The thing about McCray is he's caught so many passes. He caught 22 for 246 yards coming into this game, and he's caught 3 more tonight. He's at 300 yards pass receiving.
I don't think last year they fully realized McCray's potential impact when they had 4 running backs and they rotated a lot. Now we see Nilson, Jones, and McCray in there for the lion's share of the work, and I think it shows. McCray, you know, people say good running backs improve the more they get the ball. You know, a classic example is Fennerty. And I think it's true with McCray. And
Nilson Jones has not handled the ball much at all tonight. It's 3rd down for the Riders, and a yard to go from their 40, and they'll go for it. And Burgess looked like he got it. On what will be the final play of the 3rd quarter, Saskatchewan keeps the drive alive as they trail Hamilton 31-17.
Jones and have the offensive lineman get out in front of him, but he stopped very quickly, moved laterally. 5'10", 250 pounds, again, Livingston University.
Burgess oversees a 2nd and 12 from his 39. Gets away from Covington, but not from Lorenz.
Covington from that one side comes in, gets pressure on Burgess. He's able to escape the one, but not Lorenz on the other, and there's a holding call defensively.
Hamilton, number 18, 2nd down and 2.
Sonny Gordon is called for holding. I think that's the 2nd time tonight he's been fingered for holding, and that's a nice turn of events for the Roughriders.
Hamilton likes to play man and does it a lot. When they get up and play man, you want to be physical. Try to disturb the receiver, throw him out of his pattern where he's going. As you can see, Bruno thinks it's unnecessary.
2nd and a couple. The Riders from their 48. Burgess Glanton after him, gets it off. McCray wide open at the 45 of Hamilton. Hit and stopped by Sonny Gordon. But the Roughriders move into Tie-Cat territory with a 1st down.
Burgess keeping the drive and the play alive, being able to get out of that hot area and finding McCray downfield. And see McCray release. He's in man coverage. There goes the linebacker with him, Corbin. There's a bit of a collision, and McCray's able to slide away from that and just waiting and waiting for that ball to get there.
Burgess does a nice job of dropping it into McCray. 1st and 10 Riders at the Hamilton 45. Burgess, lots of time over the middle. Fairholm is open, and he will score. His speed is underrated. He can run, Fairholm.
Well, we've seen different circumstances that show us that. Coming across the middle, going deep. This time, I think the key is Burgess is allowed to throw the football. Look at this. There's no one within 5 yards. They've either cut down the defensive lineman and created that gap. And here's that spurt you're talking about, Bob. He just turns it on. But none of that's possible unless the offensive line gives him an opportunity of what John Gregory and Burgess has been talking about. They've done a great job this year.
Well, we're a convert away from a 7-point football game. Tom Burgess has his 3rd touchdown pass of the night. This one covering 45 yards. Ridgway with the convert. And it's 31-24 Hamilton. This is a Foster's Lager telecast on the Canadian Football Network. The 21-point lead comfortable. Apparently not. Saskatchewan with its 2nd consecutive touchdown. The 2nd by Jeff Fairholm. Now within 7 of the Ticats with 13 minutes to go in the game. Wally Zatelny takes it wide to the left. And is up to center field.
When I watched Zatelny earlier on this year, I didn't think he had the same kind of gusto. But boy, he certainly did on that return. And this is that crossing pattern that Gregory told us about. It takes a little bit longer to mature. One of the slot backs on the inside comes shallow. Fairholm about 15 yards deep. And if he doesn't have that kind of time, he can't complete the pass.
Burgess impressive, too. He'd thrown 3 interceptions, is struggling along, receivers dropping balls. He was just a bit off, but he's retained his poise all along, and now has the Riders right back in it. Kerrigan over the middle. It was tipped by Albright, intended for Rocky DiPietro, and Albright just got a finger on it to knock it away.
I guess that's why if you're John Gregory, we spoke earlier about what it takes to get a quarterback out of the game as far as performance. Gregory understands he's far more comfortable, I'm sure, now with Burgess, and knows he can come back. As you see Bentrim there, Jeff Bentrim, the 3rd quarterback in the background, pointing something out to Gregory.
2nd and 10, Ticats at the Saskatchewan 54. Kerrigan looking for Champion. Touchdown.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and that is the situation here. Kerrigan throws that ball out. Skipper moves, just completely misjudged. He figured he had an interception. Champion held his ground exactly where he'd made his cut.
Tony Champion's 3rd touchdown of the night. And the convert by Osbaldiston will put Hamilton back in front by 14 points, 38-24, with 12 minutes, 15 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Quarters at Iverwin Stadium. You get a bit of a feeling of deja vu here, Neil. We were here 2 weeks ago and watched Hamilton beat BC 44-38, and we're getting up into that area again. 38-24 Ticats. With 12 minutes to go. McCray with a kickoff. And Lee Knight stops him at the 15.
That special team play that Bruno was looking for from Knight and Jackson. He gets there, and Tony Champion breaking down. He's going to try to push, and then come back. Great coverage by Skipper, but he just simply makes that step forward when Champion started to step back for the football and misjudged the throw. Sometimes when you throw the football, it all isn't as rosy as some people might think. Had to wait a second to find out if he'd scored or not.
You don't get to see the end product of your good work, but you hear about it. Well, Harry Skipper played that ball about as well as a cornerback could play a ball until it got there, and then he just...
well, he took that step forward, jumped to either try to... figured he could intercept it, and the ball, Kerrigan had more velocity on the ball than obviously Skipper had anticipated.
Maybe sailed away a little bit on him, whatever. Skipper misplayed it. Champion hauled it in, and he was gone. Tom Burgess, the Saskatchewan quarterback, 7 out of 13 in the 2nd half, but Mike Kerrigan has now thrown 4 touchdown passes as they attend to rookie linebacker Keith Costello of the Ticats.
Ticats kept 6 linebackers for this game. Again, I think another sign, obviously one of the reasons is to get Derek Colburn back into the flow. I think he said he wasn't going to play him a lot. I think once he got in, he hasn't been out since.
I know you're not hearing things, folks, but the Roughriders win are making that much noise. And the Riders will have to deal with that, along with the Ticat defense as they start this drive from their 15-yard line. Burgess fakes, and he's going to run with it up to the 20 and out to the 22 for a gain of 7. Brought down by Stefan Jordan.
I think Burgess will have success as we'll see Keith Costello getting Dr. Levy looking at him. He's got his left eye poked with a finger. He's making sure that everything's working, no blurriness. He says, yeah, I can see you, Doc, so let me go.
Second down and 3, Riders at their 22-yard line. Burgess over the middle. This is Elgard. Breaks one tackle and is out to the 54 of the Roughriders. He batted one tackler away there like he was a fly.
Well, I tell you, you're not going to tackle Ray Elgard or anyone that size by coming across and trying to knock him down with a forearm. You'll see it here. Straight across the side. And watch this hit. I think it's Flagle's going to come across and try to strong arm him. As you said, he just swatted him away.
33-yard gain. They put the ball down at center field for the Roughriders. 1st and 10. Burgess to Elgard again. This time Frank Robinson wraps him up and makes sure, throwing him back, but they'll mark the ball at the 47 of Hamilton. That'll be an 8-yard Saskatchewan gain.
Burgess will probably continue, and he's generally at his best when he's doing this, is moving around, giving the defense lots of pressure on the outside by sprinting out, moving the running backs to the outside.
10 minutes left. We're in the 4th quarter at Iverwin. The Ticats lead 38-24. The Riders are 2nd and 2 at the Hamilton 47. Burgess has McCray wide open down the sideline into the Ticat 28-yard line.
I like that not going out of bounds, catching the ball, seeing you have a first down and slanting out. Put the ball in your right arm and try to get upfield and break a tackle. McCray simply just goes to the flat. The other 2 receivers take the corner and the halfback out of there. And you saw Patterson was put in a situation where he had to cover McCray, who had a full running start.
Tim McCray has been a busy man tonight and a very effective one. Riders 1st and 10, Ticat 28. Burgess lots of time again. Looks in the end zone and it's no good. Ray McDonald, the intended receiver. Will Lewis, the man with the coverage.
Lewis is in tight, lots of time. Again, another little bit of a roll. He wants to throw it to the short side of the field, but sees his receiver, McDonald, looked like he was open in the seam. Lots of action there. We got Flagle coming over, and Lewis was very tight.
And it looked like the ball just went through McDonald's arms. Although Lewis did wind up with good coverage. 2nd and 10 at the 28 of Hamilton. Burgess, lots of time again. He'll have to run. Gets to the 22 of the Ticats. Glanton and Darrell Patterson made the stop. 8:52 left. And John Gregory has sent out his field goal team. Which doesn't necessarily mean they'll kick a field goal. Although you'd have to bet on that with the situation being what it is, a 14-point game. Ridgway will try from the 29, and he'll make it from the 29, and so it's 38-27 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, an 11-point game with 8:36 left.
Every working day, Canadians send more than 30 million pieces of mail. Naturally, they expect all that mail to arrive on time everywhere in
Hamilton at halftime. Ticats took a 21-point lead on a Tony Truelove touchdown, but then Saskatchewan came back. Jeff Fairholm from Tom Burgess with a touchdown, 24 yards, and then Fairholm again early in the fourth quarter to cut the Hamilton lead to 7. Mike Kerrigan then found Tony Champion for a third time tonight for a touchdown to restore a 14-point Hamilton advantage, and then Ridgway makes it an 11-point deficit Saskatchewan facing against Hamilton. McAdoo carrying right side and driving to center field. Hard running by McAdoo, and he has run that way all night long.
Well, that's what you want on a first down play. Get yourself downfield 7 yards. Albright's going to move. Tries to get across. Good lead block by Jed Tommy on the outside linebacker. Albright's not there until he's about 6 yards downfield.
When Albright puts a shoulder on you,
well, you generally go down.
And you win the battle, you got some power. Second down and about 2.5 yards to go from center field. McAdoo, and this time he gains only a yard, maybe a little more. Albright in on the tackle.
Well, it's so much easier for any linebacker to step across laterally and then step up. It's tougher on the sweeps. No, he's good at the sweeps, but as you said, when he puts that head down and squats and then explodes up into McAdoo, McAdoo better have a head of steam up if he's going to win the battle. He's won a couple. I think the battle's about even right now.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's third down and 1.5 yards. The Ticats at the Saskatchewan 54. Now Bruno taking some time to make a decision, and now he sends Paulus Balliston out. 7 minutes, 10 seconds left. Balliston with a pretty good punt. Albert Brown, the only man back at the Rider 9. And nowhere to go. He's back maybe to the 12-yard line. Well, we have 2 games for you next week on the Canadian.
Looking like starting in a fucking hole. Well, it's still, you know, with 7 minutes left, it's still going to take some patience to move the football and get the points. I don't think you can, especially when you start down in your own 5. Well, I'll take that back to your own 3-yard line.
Roughriders are called for objectionable conduct.
Saskatchewan took an objectionable conduct penalty. I don't know if it's John Gregory that got it or not, but he has had some things to say to the officials tonight. His players may have as well. Burgess in the end zone, gets away, and out to the 3, maybe the 4-yard line. Ronnie Glanton almost had Burgess for a safety touch.
He's stopped by Peter Giftopoulos.
Well, when Burgess starts to move, the pursuit goes after him. Robinson, Giftopoulos, those 2 outside linebackers, both have great pursuit to be able to cut off and break to where the football's going. You see them dropping right there. Patterson, Giftopoulos to that left side. Now he has to hang in there and then make a decision. Come up hard if he's going to run or not. And Giftopoulos makes the timing and the right decision.
Gained a little bit, about 1/2 yard. Second and about 9.5. Burgess again in the end zone. Gets the ball away and completes it up to the 11-yard line of the Riders. That won't be enough for the first down. They'll be third and a couple. Nelson Jones, the receiver. And that will bring on the Saskatchewan punt team with 5:58 left, and the Riders down by 11.
Well, what the Ticat defense did right there, 2 and out, is what Saskatchewan's defense is going to have to do the next time the Ticats get the football.
The problem for Saskatchewan is compounded by the fact that they're working into the wind. We'll see how Baker deals with it on this punt. Zatilny at the 44. And he'll bring it back to the 38-yard line of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Well, after this evening's game, we will select a Foster's Most Valuable Player.
Bill Henry
spend some time talking with him. Fancy numbers in this game tonight. Mike Kerrigan, 4 touchdown passes. Tony Champion with 3 of them. Pete Giftopoulos has an interception. Ticats from the Rider 37.5. Kerrigan to Richard Estelle. On the sideline, good gain of the Rider, 28. Close to a Ticat first down.
Well, we've seen Mike Kerrigan get thrown off his rhythm many times, but tonight I think he's got it by showing us that three-step drop that we've seen a lot of this year. And as I mentioned earlier, the movement of that pocket, not dramatically, but just enough to take and throw the rush off.
Well, who will ever forget that 86 Eastern final, the second game of that two-game total point meal where Kerrigan was just unbelievable. 35 completions in that game, a CFL playoff record as Hamilton rallied to beat Toronto in the two-game total point. They measure it. It's a first down. Ticats at the Saskatchewan 27. Kerrigan, quick pass, had his man open, but underthrew Rocky DiPietro.
Well, had the pressure coming from Saskatchewan once again. Kerrigan sharp, reading his keys and making the right decision, and DiPietro making the right decision of coming back inside, but not be able to hook up.
Story of the game so far, Kerrigan to champion, a big part of it. Tom Burgess, twice to Fairholm for touchdowns, another time to Don Narcisse, as the two quarterbacks we talked about in the opening have put on a show. Kerrigan looking for Estelle, touchdown!
All the receivers this evening have been the beneficiaries of good, nicely thrown passes. Estelle gets to the inside on Albert Brown. Just as smooth as can be. Once the receiver gets that position, and with his size, physically, it's tough to go around him to knock the ball down. And Kerrigan leads him into that middle area nicely.
A Paulus Ballaston convert makes it Hamilton 45, Saskatchewan 27, an 18-point lead with 4 minutes, 48 seconds left.
And Mike Kerrigan, as I've mentioned, see him even when the ball is snapped, he's looking to the left side. Quickly directs his attention right and then goes back to the left. It's fun to watch quarterbacks when the ball has snapped just before, read their keys and try to get something, you know, something that the defense is going to do and understand it right then and then make that read and the decision.
5 touchdown passes for Kerrigan. That's the first touchdown of the year for Richard Estelle. And what a night for Kerrigan, who, according to Coach Al Bruno, has been up and down this season, as the 6 touchdowns and 9 interceptions coming into this game would indicate. But he has been up tonight. McCray with a kickoff at the Rider 10. And is out to the 37 of Saskatchewan. Well, the Riders got to within 7 points early in this fourth quarter at 31-24, but the Ticats have run away again. They lead by 18. 4 minutes, 42 seconds to go.
A lot of credit has to go to the Tiger Cats, having really come out, not flat, but a little bit down and allowing Saskatchewan back in. They've rallied very quickly.
Burgess on first down, throws over the middle, has Elgard open at the 50, and he's down at the 51-yard line. That's a gain of 13 yards for Saskatchewan. Kerrigan, 29 years of age, is in his 4th year from Northwestern University. Of course, I talked about the 86 East final. The Ticats went on to win the Grey Cup. And Kerrigan threw for 300 yards in that Grey Cup game. Tom Burgess to Don Narcisse for another Saskatchewan 13-yard gain and a first down to the Ticat 47.
Burgess has them in that hurry-up offense. 3 minutes, 45 seconds and counting.
Burgess to Fairholm. Nice catch at the Ticats 39. Nobody hit him, so he decided to get up, but the Ticats alertly then put a hand on Fairholm.
Well, everyone froze just for a second. Again, we're seeing this crossing pattern. Fairholm's coming from the left. He's the underman this time. When he caught that touchdown, he was the deeper one. This time, he's only about 7 yards deep.
Second and about 3 for Burgess. And he's going to run with it and get the first down to the 34 of Hamilton and take a pretty good hit in the process. Ken Austin, the backup quarterback, talking to head coach John Gregory. Inside of 3 minutes left in the game now. Burgess back to pass. Wants it in the end zone, and McDonald nearly made a one-handed grab. Riders will have to try again. 2:48 left. The CFN game is brought to you by Foster's Loggers. The fourth quarter, Saskatchewan down by 18, have to score quickly and then do it again and again. We'll see if they can. Burgess goes long. Narcisse, touchdown. That's exactly what they needed to keep their slim hopes of winning this game alive.
Well, Narcisse has that rare ability to get up in between that seam and really be deceptive in his speed. Burgess is going to take a heck of a whack as he gets rid of the ball by Mike Walker. You see, Flagel sort of underestimates how far the ball's going and how far Narcisse is downfield. Mike Walker's still on the field right now, receiving some attention. Athletic therapist on the left there, Ray Jones, with the suspenders. That'll give time for Saskatchewan to reevaluate. They're going to go for a two-point conversion. So
they sent Ridgway and the convert team out, but they're going to go for a two-point conversion. Narcisse's second touchdown of the game and Tom Burgess's fourth touchdown pass of the night.
Look at Narcisse and his athletic ability from Texas Southern University. He only played 1 year of varsity football, and he had opportunities to as a baseball scholarship as a pitcher and both the shortstop.
Well, he's been such a great added dimension, and the Riders knew he was a good receiver, believed he was. He suffered that stress fracture in the leg last year. Tom Burgess has been so impressive tonight. He's wiped out the memory of the 3 interceptions early, retained his poise, kept coming back. I mean, he's just really, I think, showing again tonight why he's having such a great year and why people are saying he's become a frontline, top-notch quarterback.
And I'd say to this point, he's been the most impressive quarterback in the CFL.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that. They'll try for the two-point convert. Fairholm in motion right. Burgess falls and loses the ball. So the score will be 45-33 for Hamilton with 2 minutes and 35 seconds left.
I jinxed him on there. I shouldn't have said he was the most impressive.
Now they need an 8-point touchdown and then another touchdown, whereas if they'd made the two-point convert, a touchdown and field goal would have done it for them.
Just simply gets that right foot caught in the turf. Late in the game, you get a little bit tired. You've got to keep reminding yourself, or not reminding yourself, just got to keep doing it. Get your feet off the ground because that AstroTurf will reach up and grab you.
6-play, 73-yard drive. And it gives the Riders life and makes Al Bruno feel just a bit uncomfortable.
Well, uncomfortable enough to send out his hands team on the kickoff return, which means predominantly linebackers, running backs, defensive backs to prepare for a short kickoff. What do? Do you kick it away, go deep? Hopefully that they won't get a good return because of this different team in. And
I guess you have to take the wind into consideration here, too. Ridgway will be kicking into the wind, and he's going to kick short by the looks of things. No question about that. He loops it up in the air, and it goes out of bounds. I don't think the ball went 10 yards, though. They haven't ruled yet who touched it and would have possession of it, but I don't believe it went 10 yards.
Well, even if it doesn't go 10 yards and it's touched first by a Tiger Cat, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. They're calling procedure against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Now with that procedure, the discussion is, do they kick it over, or is it? I think they have to kick it over.
Well, they rule that the penalty against Saskatchewan can be declined by Hamilton. The Ticats obviously touching the ball. And so it's Hamilton football.
Looked like Ridgway dropped it exactly in the right spot. Has to go past where the referee is. You be the judge. Who touched it? Who touched it last? Ticat was the last man to touch it.
Now we could see it looked like a rider had a shot at it, but didn't make contact. Dillon is in the game now, and he's to the 31, but a yard away from a Ticat first down.
Taking out a page out of the Saskatchewan book, running that inside receiver flat across. DiPietro caught one in the second quarter, very similar to that.
I thought we might see Dillon just run off some time, but he put it up. Although Knight was wide open, so it wasn't what you'd call a risky throw. Third down, and maybe a foot to go for the Ticats, down to a minute 52 and the clock running. Dillon keeps right side, first down to the Riders 29. Pete Giacopoulos chatting with some of his friends at the game. The clock is running. It's down to 1:30, as you can see. Dillon hands off to Tony Truelove, and he's wrapped up after gaining perhaps a yard.
Asking Gregory today about whether the lack of rotation on that defensive line this year, not having a Klassen like they did last year and the 5 people to rotate through, has affected their team in the defensive line in the fourth quarter. And he says, yeah, I think I've seen them a little bit fatigued more often than I had last year. They're not nearly as fresh.
Now the Ticats have done a good job tonight of keeping Curry and Jurison and company off their quarterbacks. This is Sam Loucks carrying on second down and 9, and he'll gain 3 or 4 as the clock winds down to a minute 2 left. And Gregory wants the Riders timeout. Now there's an injured Ticat on the play. Mike Dirks, their left tackle, who tore his Achilles in the first game of the 1986 season. Played only 4 games then.
It looks like a banana. Yeah. So obviously the impact is taken some by the brace and not nearly as much by the knee. I was going to make a point about the offensive line and that they were concerned about Daryl Harley, the rookie native of Regina, starting at that right guard spot. I would say that they passed with flying colors.
Yeah, I would say so. Well, John Gregory's been doing a bit of a slow burn throughout this second half, and his mood isn't getting any more favorable as Bob Jurison takes a bit of a rest. The Riders have called a timeout.
Well, as you get better as a football team, there are a number of things happen. You practice a little bit better, you're more confident, but you also expect more of yourself. The players do, and so does the coaching staff. And when things don't go your way, as you had anticipated and practicing for all week, it gets under your skin. You get a little hot.
Osbaldiston on to try a 32-yard field goal as we're underway again. And he's wide left with it. It goes through the end zone for a single point. 55 seconds left now. And Hamilton makes it a 13-point lead, 46-33.
Well, not happy with himself, Paul Osbaldiston, who worked very, very hard on his punting in the offseason and in training camp. He's got a very strong leg, but yanked that one a little bit left.
Well, this sets up a very interesting game in Edmonton next Wednesday. The Ticats and Eskimos will both be 5-1. Burgess and the Riders with their last-ditch effort intended for Fairholm, knocked away. There's a flag down. Stephen Jordan will be called for pass interference.
Well, Jordan, one of those 2 rookies in the defensive backfield that started this year, Jordan and Gordon, that Al Bruno is so pleased about and says that's one of the reasons.
So, you know, I'm assuming Hamilton is going to win this game, but Tom Burgess and company have other ideas. Burgess will take off and run the ball, and that's going to use up some valuable time to get 46-33 Hamilton. Burgess needs to get it into the end zone, and he needs to do it right now. But he'll dump it off to Tim McRae, and he's inside of the 24 of the Ticats with 32 seconds left.
Well, just getting the backs out of the backfield, not worrying about blocking. Hamilton's not going to probably bring linebackers. And once there's no responsibility for a back, he can be a good outlet receiver.
Clock starts again. Remember, the Riders used their timeout just a couple of minutes ago. Burgess throws to the end zone, and it's no good. Some congestion in there. Ray McDonald, the intended receiver. That'll stop the clock, though, with 21 seconds left, and give the Riders a chance to have a huddle and have a steak thrown down on a table. Raw meat, that's what that's all about. Burgess to Elgard, touchdown Saskatchewan with 16 seconds to go. That makes it 46-39 Hamilton. A convert will make it 46-40, and the Riders will then have 16 seconds to recover a short kickoff and score a touchdown.
Keep hammering away. It's called a throwback. Move to one side and then try to hit that seam. When he goes that way, he's trying to draw that safety just 2 or 3 yards over to the wide side of the field to give Elgard that much more room to move and catch the ball. By the time the safety gets back over, the ball's caught.
Ridgway will attempt to convert with shooter holding, and he makes it. So it's Hamilton 46, Saskatchewan 40, more points than we saw 2 weeks ago when BC was
Well,
here.
somebody said before the game that they didn't think that there'd be this many points scored. I wasn't sure about that. Of course, I didn't say so at the time. Oh, anything can happen.
Well, Gregory has given up, and why would he? 16 seconds to go. The kickoff will take 1 or 2 because time isn't whistled in until the ball is touched after it's been kicked. And if the Riders do recover it, they'll have time for, well, 2 plays to try and get it in the end zone. That's 5 touchdown passes for Burgess and Kerrigan each.
Let's see, go 10 yards this time.
They have had quite a shootout at Ivor Wynne Stadium.
Well, the fans can't say they can walk away and haven't seen some excitement.
All right, here's Ridgway, the short kickoff. This one travels 10 yards. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Rocky DiPietro has the football. And that will put the lid on it with 12 seconds to go.
You know, the University of Ottawa grad, just like catching a pop fly, hangs in there. Hopes that the front line goes up and knocks some people down so he can just simply stand there and catch it.
So the fans at Ivor Wynne are going to go home happy, save for those few that were carrying the Saskatchewan banner around here. They might be happy, too. They've seen a pretty good show, although not a Rough Rider victory.
It's the last 2 games that's been played at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Has been just a barn burner. Lots of action.
44-38. The Ticats beat BC here 2 weeks ago. Then they went into Calgary and got beat 40-8 and come back now and win 46-40. This will be the last play of the football game, barring a penalty, which we don't have. And so the Ticats are the team that goes to 5-1, and John Gregory's Saskatchewan Roughriders drop to 4-2, second place in the West. Edmonton Eskimos lead with a 5-1 record, as Gregory and Bruno congratulate one another, and Gregory also congratulates Mike Kerrigan, and well, he should. Kerrigan had a great night, 5 touchdown passes, matched by Tom Burgess of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But the Ticats come out just a little bit ahead.
Well, Al Bruno's football team responded. He was concerned.